This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. The Rolex Day-Date, a watch once synonymous with presidents, CEOs, and industry titans. For decades, it stood as the ultimate emblem of luxury and success. However, in recent years, murmurs of change have emerged as the Day-Date lost its shine. While the Day-Date remains a high-quality watch, its price stability contrasts with the significant appreciation seen in other models, such as the Daytona. New collectors, particularly those influenced by recent market hype, may perceive the Day-Date as less lucrative or trendy. What elements are driving this perceived downturn? In this video brought to you by the Luxury World, we will investigate the intriguing case of the Rolex Day-Date, examining the factors behind its changing status and what the future might hold for this iconic timepiece. If you still need to subscribe to our channel, we encourage you to do so now to stay updated on our future videos. In 1956, Rolex introduced the Day-Date, later known as the President, a title technically referring to its bracelet, though mine is on a strap. This watch became a global symbol of wealth, success, and power. Its claim to fame was being the first watch to display the day of the week in full text, a feature we do not find groundbreaking, but was revolutionary at the time. More importantly, the Day-Date achieved a timeless balance of elegance and significance. Unlike other luxury watches of its era, which were smaller and conservatively designed, the Day-Date was larger and heavier, striking the perfect balance between old-world elegance and modern significance. Fast forward to 2013, when Rolex released the reference 118138 and its counterpart 118139. The 8 signifies yellow gold and the 9 signifies white gold. These watches came in a set, featuring colorful variations, cognac and green for the yellow gold and blue and cherry for the white gold. This vibrant collection significantly departed from the conservative and traditional Day-Date of 1956. How did this transformation occur? In the 1970s, Rolex began experimenting with design, responding to changing times and evolving into a distinctive designer with its unique perspective. Rolex introduced a collection later known as the Stella watches, featuring beautiful lacquer dials in vibrant colors such as yellow, light blue, and green. These Stella watches were an extension of the earlier Wild Day-Dates, with stone dials, evolving the idea by incorporating colorful lacquers. This evolution reflected Rolex's blend of serious craftsmanship with a touch of exotic flair. Just as the Daytona had its Paul Newman variant, the Stella collection highlighted Rolex's penchant for unique designs. While other brands focused on intricate complications, Rolex innovated through design. They maintained the reliable oyster case, but experimented with fonts, colors, and materials. This aspect of Rolex's creativity is often underappreciated, as many associate the brand primarily with models like the Submariner and GMT. However, Rolex's history of producing fun, colorful, and experimental watches is long-standing. The recent puzzle watch, despite its divisive reception, aligns with this tradition and should not be surprising. The Day-Date was special for its balance of traditional elegance and substantial feel, making it a valuable and significant item. Experimentation with color has always been part of Rolex's DNA. Fast forward to 2013, when Rolex released a new collection during a different era in the watch industry. Back then, obtaining a Submariner or Daytona was relatively straightforward, unlike today. This period was pre-COVID, the latter being a significant factor in the recent explosion in watch prices. In 2013, these new colorful watches were released, marking yet another chapter in Rolex's legacy of blending tradition with innovative design. It epitomized peak Rolex, blending sportiness and luxury, which has been a hallmark since the 1970s when they released a yellow-gold Submariner. The use of green, a vibrant color synonymous with Rolex, makes the combination of green and yellow gold quintessentially Rolex. This fusion perfectly encapsulates what the brand represents. Consider the surge in collectible watches, such as the John Mayer Daytona, which have become immensely valuable. This trend is part of a larger $2 trillion market for ultra-high net worth individuals, encompassing both watches and fine art. This market is expected to grow by nearly $900 million over the next 2 years. Reflecting on the watch market's rapid expansion, the current opportunity to participate in this booming sector is remarkable. So, while the John Mayer Daytona's value skyrocketed from the mid-$30,000 to over $125,000 at one point, the Rolex Day-Date remained relatively stable around the mid-$20,000. Why did the John Mayer Daytona see such an explosion in value while the Day-Date, with a similar formula, stayed the same? The answer is simple. People were unaware of its existence. Many new collectors in the watch world were not around a decade ago, so they lacked awareness of this model. There is nothing wrong with that. It is great to see new enthusiasts joining the community. However, this lack of awareness allowed the Day-Date to go overlooked for years. Even today, these watches are still available, though not necessarily in enormous quantities. These watches are still available, both domestically and internationally. Unlike the Daytonas, which saw their prices quadruple to over $120,000, the Day-Dates have only increased by about 10 to 15%. It is a classic Rolex, unlike some complicated pieces from other high-end brands. We think it is nice to know there are still amazing watches on the market that have not been driven up in price by pop culture and mass appeal. The free market operates on supply and demand, and we all understand that. We prefer the prices to stay where they are. We apologize to those who have been saving up for this watch and may find prices increasing now. If more people talk about it, especially on platforms like YouTube and social media, it could blow up. The point is to do your due diligence. Look at the market and historical releases, and not just from Rolex. Keep looking, keep searching, and keep hunting for unique pieces. Expand your knowledge, and do not just wait for a major influencer to declare something cool. Do not wait for prices to skyrocket to fall in love with a watch. Do your due diligence, and when you find something great, regardless of what others think, buy it even if its price has not risen in 5 years and no one else cares about it. No one may care about this particular watch, but we believe it is one of the greatest Rolexes released in the past 25 years. We are confident in defending that point. With this, we are encouraging you to research and not get discouraged by the competitive world of watch collecting, where prices can get driven up, diminishing the real value. Focus on the true value rather than the inflated prices. Before we wrap up, we want to mention another watch released in the 1950s, the Zodiac Seawolf, a direct competitor to Rolex. It features an amazing GMT function. Introduced around the same time as the Submariner, the Seawolf was more approachable yet beautiful, especially with its bakelite bezels. These plastic bezels capture color wonderfully and have become increasingly collectible. This particular model has a beautiful black gloss dial, a red GMT hand, and a grayish-green bakelite bezel. It has been freshly served. Another vintage piece is a JLC with unique lugs, a black dial, and the original crystal, which can be replaced upon request. This watch remains in its original condition and features a power reserve indicator, showing how much time is left before it needs winding. The sound it makes is quite charming. We adore vintage watches, even though we recently purchased a more modern watch, which, being 10 years old, is becoming neo-vintage. But vintage watches are where the heart truly lies for many, and when someone buys a modern watch, it often embodies the values many people love about vintage timepieces. The common factor is whether the watch captures something special and represents value. Vintage and value go hand in hand. Value is not the only reason we buy vintage watches. Many are extremely expensive and collectible. However, due to the long history, it takes time for people to catch up and provide updated value analyses. Vintage JLC watches, for instance, can be overlooked because they date back 100 years or more, and people are not as actively obsessed with them. Increased competition from other luxury watch brands offering innovative designs and complications has also impacted the Day-Date standing. Collectors and enthusiasts now have a broader array of options to choose from, diluting the Day-Date's unique appeal. Despite these factors, the Rolex Day-Date remains an iconic and esteemed model within the brand's lineup, valued by those who appreciate its rich history and classic design. What are your thoughts on the topic of Rolex Day-Date we shared in this video? If you enjoyed the video, we would appreciate it if you let us know by leaving a comment and giving it a thumbs up. Do not forget to follow our channel for more content. Thank you for watching The Luxury World, and we look forward to having you join us in our upcoming videos.